Hi, my name is Judy Yates and I'm the MCSA Domestic Violence Shelter Coordinator. I've been with the Domestic Violence Shelter for almost 24 years, and thank you very much for taking the time to see our presentation. We have been open during the pandemic, but unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we are not going to be able to have you come into our shelter and actually have a tour, which I'm quite disappointed about because we're very, very excited and proud of our shelter, and we don't get the opportunity to show what a beautiful home it is and what great services we offer to our clients. So we do serve survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, family violence, and human trafficking and other violent crimes. We are client-centered based management and advocacy. What that basically means is when a client comes in, we build an individual case plan for them. Every client has different barriers, and every client is coming from a little bit of a different situation. So for us, we do an individual case plan with them that fits basically what they're working on and what they need to. We do only house women and children at our shelter. We do offer services to males. Unfortunately, we do not house males at our domestic violence shelter, but we do make referrals for them for no contact orders. We do safety planning with them. We can give them information and resources over the phone, and if they are needing safe house, we would refer them to MCSA. Some of the services that include, obviously, safety planning. I'll give you some numbers in a few minutes about how many crisis calls we have. Our crisis line does ring into the shelter. It's a large 4-bedroom home that has a handicap accessible room and bathroom, which comes in very handy. Sometimes we have clients that have broken bones or are unable to do stairs. So we have a community living room, bathrooms, dining room, kitchen. It's just a really, really big, nice home, and it feels very homey. So clients and their children feel very comfortable there. So we do a lot of safety planning when people call our crisis line or when they come in. Nobody knows their own safety better than the women and children that are coming in. They've been surviving this long, so they know what's best for them, but we help establish a safety plan for them. We offer counseling and emotional support. Within a day or two of the women and children coming into shelter, they are assigned a counselor, and we sit down with them, and that's where we do that individual one-on-one goal planning with them based on what their needs are and what they want to work on and what they want to focus on. We assist with job searches, housing searches. We work very closely with MCSA and the housing stability workers here. We work very closely with Section 8 and city housing. We offer all food, clothing, and basic needs. All of our services are also free and they're confidential. We don't charge anybody to stay with us. And if you know domestic violence, a lot of the clients come with only the clothes on their back, or they just grab a few things and they throw them in a garbage bag. So a lot of times there's things that they forget, or they don't have the money to buy things. So we provide all daily basic needs. We help them obtain important documents. That's a real important thing. They can't sign up for FIP or food stamps or housing or really get a job, and that's a big tactic that offenders use, and that's destroying their victims and their children's important papers. We have public health that comes into our shelter twice a month. We just started doing that several months ago. It makes it easier for our clients not to have to go out and possibly not be safe. So we have public health that comes in twice a month and helps meet some basic health needs that they would need, immunizations, things like that. We also have started, there's a women's group. We have a retired master level therapist that comes in twice a month. It's a women's group. It's only for the clients that are staying there. I provide a snack and a drink, and they do it at the dining room table. And it's called Hear My Voice. And it's a time for them just to talk about whatever they want to talk about what they're going through. Sometimes Janet brings handouts for them, talks about guilt feelings, power and control wheel, red flags in abusive relationships, and the women really seem to enjoy that, and they really enjoy being able to do that together, to know that they're not alone. We also have started on the weekends. Our advocates have started doing family enrichment. We do crafts, baking, meal times, games, They do movie night and popcorn, and this kind of helps establish some of those family values that maybe haven't been going on in their home. The kids really enjoy it, and even the single women that stay with us, they love doing the arts and the crafts. It's a good way for our advocates to talk with them and to kind of get them to open up and to let them know that life can be more normal. Our numbers this year, in 2020, we housed 26 women and 42 children. They were safely housed with us. I told you I'd give you some numbers on the crisis calls. We had 292 crisis calls. And again, those are not necessarily everybody wanting shelter. Some people want shelter. Some people are family members that call and have a niece or a daughter or a cousin or a coworker that's going through a domestic violence situation, and they really don't know what they should say or what they should do. Sometimes it's people that are just calling that they need verification on what they're going through. They say, well, he's never really hit me before, but he pushes me all the time, or I don't have my name on the bank account. And that's our time where we can kind of educate them a little bit and talk to them about the different forms of domestic violence, whether it be sexual, emotional, verbal, physical, financial, and another big one is isolation. So a lot of our clients are very isolated from their friends and their family. Average woman leaves 7 to 10 times before she leaves for good. And a lot of times her friends and family have kind of washed their hands with her because they've helped her out a couple of times. By them staying at our shelter, it gives them time to regroup. It gives them a time for an advocate to help them understand what they've been going through, relate with them. They're not under any pressure, and they can see what their life can be like. So sustainability for clients that have stayed at our shelter seems to be higher because they don't have to worry about their offender showing up at the door, or their offender, showing up at their friend's house where they're sleeping on the couch. So our services are very valuable to women and children that stay with us. Domestic violence shelters are few and far between. Our shelter is life-saving resources for the women and children we serve. A lot of the shelters in the state of Iowa have closed, and we're very fortunate that over the years, United Way has continued to support us, and without their help, I don't know that our shelter would be able to stay open. It truly is a life-saving difference for the women and children we serve. Some of them would have nowhere else to go, and if they had to leave our town because they didn't have a shelter here, most of the other shelters are either full or they don't take people from other counties. So imagine having to quit your job, take your kids out of school, move from your church, your family, your friends. When she's already been victimized once, it almost seems like re-victimizing her again to take those things away from her when she's already lost so much. So that's why our shelter is so vital and important. Women and children transition out of the shelter to begin a life free of violence. That's our goal, and that's what we work towards. We may start off with them just seeking employment. Some clients that come in already have employment, so we might work on housing right away. But the ultimate goal is obviously for them to be self-sustainable when they leave our shelter, and to feel empowered and have the self-confidence to realize that they can do it through the family enrichment on the weekends and through the women's group that we offer, and for them to have somebody 24 hours a day to talk to about what they're going through. Success story that we had, I was working a few months ago and I answered the crisis line, and a mother was calling. She was getting ready to go into court. She had 4 children. She had just completed her substance abuse use program, inpatient, and she was seeking safety for herself and her children. She was just about ready to go into court, and she needed to share with the judge that she would have a safe place to stay. She works with a family first worker, and the family's first worker and the victim had been threatened to have their life killed if by her offender if he got the opportunity to. So the judge was not willing to give the kids to her unless she had a safe place to stay. She came into our shelter. The children were able to remain with their mother and not go into foster care. The client was successful. She kept her kids in school. She continued her outpatient program, and she was able to start searching for employment. She attended the women's group and engaged in the weekend empowerment, and she maintains her sobriety. I see her family's first worker every now and then, and I ask how she's doing, and she and the kids are doing wonderful. They have their own apartment, and she is remaining sober. She has a job, and she is a happy survivor in our community that got our services. So that's just one very small story of some of the clients that we have served. I just can't stress to you enough that victims of domestic violence don't have a lot of places to go. They fear for their life, some minute by minute, some day by day. And our shelter does save lives. I've always said that it takes a village, and it does take a village, and I think that Muscatine is our village. We have some wonderful and amazing organizations in Muscatine, and we collaborate with all of them, from housing to Robert Young Services, New Horizons, the housing sustainability here at MCSA, Muscabus. The school system is great with making sure the kids get to and from school safely and not be followed. The bus drivers are aware when they're picking the kids up at the shelter. Our domestic violence shelter is not a shelter, it's a home. And for some of these women and children, this is the first time that they have had a safe, good night's sleep where they actually feel like they have hope. And that's what we try to instill in them, is hope, empowerment, education, so that they can be stable on their own and that they can move forward. Thank you very much.